It's time for American Brain and Brawn, starring John Brenkus and Lacey Evans.
Oh, hello, everybody. How are you?
Look at that sweater you have on with those double buttons, John.
Listen, do you want to know what these are the buttons of? These are the buttons of a hunter.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah. Last week, we got some news that this nasty was going to go hunting for some birds. How'd it go, John?
Well, let me just tell you this. There is no G in hunting. It is hunting, period.
Oh, okay, I'll have to Google that later.
I'm going to show you. You say you don't ask me, well, how did it go? Let me show you. I'm going to show you how it went. Hold on 1 second. Hold 2 seconds. Drum roll, please. And,
oh my gosh. Look at you.
Look at that. Look at that.
Lord.
Look at that haul. How about that?
Oh my gosh. You kind of blend in there, John. Where are you at?
I'm the little short dude.
Okay. I see you now. I see you.
Exactly.
Wow.
I'm a super short guy, and it's pretty awesome. So it's pretty awesome, and I am very proud that I was responsible for 3 of those because
okay.
you have a limit. You can only shoot so many, and I got to shoot 3 of them. Now, I did bring out my tactical shotgun, so I didn't have a sporting shotgun. I had a tactical one. Here's what that looks like. This is a friend of mine who was out there with me shooting it. There you go. That's a hunter.
Okay. That's a cool photo. That is a really cool photo. You've got the rounds flying out. That's pretty cool, John.
That is a Benelli M4 7+1 semi-automatic shotgun right there. Ain't no pheasant getting away. That's all I can tell you.
Wow. Okay. I'm impressed.
Listen, this is the first time you've been on your heels, Lacey. This is the very first time you don't know what to say because all of a sudden I'm acting like a man. All of a sudden I've got some testosterone flowing and you're just kind of like shaky. You don't know how to come back at that.
I don't know what to say, John. I am impressed. Did you eat some of them?
I did. Of course
you
can't. Listen, you're not allowed to kill something unless you're going to eat it. There's no reason to kill it.
That's right. That's right. No, I agree.
So we had some pheasant poppers, and you want to know what's really good with pheasant poppers?
What?
Some Kill Cliff Flaming Joe.
Cheers, John. Cheers.
Yes.
A little Kill Cliff to keep me going, and then some detox water to keep me hydrated.
That's right. So this is the new CBD drink put out by Kill Cliff in collaboration with Joe Rogan. So this is called the Flaming Joe. It's a spicy pineapple fusion that is pretty unbeatable. Honestly, I work with Kill Cliff. I love Kill Cliff. This is like next level amazing. That's all I'm saying. Kill Cliff. If you want to go to killcliff.com, KLIFF.com, get Flaming Joe, Joe Rogan's new drink. There you go. You got anything to say?
I'm speechless. I'm still trying to visualize you out there, roughing it out there. Hey, did you have to go to the bathroom by chance?
Do you want to know what? So here's the thing. I actually did not have to go to the bathroom out there other than I did, obviously. I had to go number 1, not number 2. And I asked a lot of my fellow hunting buddies.
I don't even want to know what you're going to say, John, because you're going to lie. Okay? If they did not agree with me.
Going to lie.
All right, then tell me.
Nobody agrees with you. Not a single person. Like, I would take off. I was in South Dakota. And if you're in South Dakota, you're not taking your sock off. That means you have to take your shoe off. You're not taking your sock off. You're using either leaves or something else, but you're not abandoning your sock. Not in South Dakota.
Are you saying that you would actually use something? Because last time we talked, John, you clarified that you wouldn't use a thing and you would continue on your way.
Listen, this is all I have to say. You can use something if you want to, but it's not required.
Anyway, you know what, John? Today is Wisdom Wednesday. Don't
That's
you
right.
like that? Do you like that
I like
hashtag
that.
Wisdom Wednesday?
I like that. I do like that. It's very beautiful.
And I have some extra wisdom on not only myself and my verbiage, not only yours, John, because I will admit you bring some good stuff to the table every week, some motivation, some uplifting material that people could use. But I had the privilege of meeting somebody not too long ago who is not only an author, such as yourself, but a motivated woman who has been through a lot and has become successful and didn't let life knock her down. So because it is Wednesday, because it is Hump Day, because it is Wisdom Wednesday, and there are so many people out there that need to hear these types of stories, we decided to bring her on the show.
There you go. That's right. I mean, first of all, we're incredibly honored. I want you to do the official drum roll, and Herbert's going to bring her on, make it all fancy and everything.
Giselle McNab, hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
You know, I am more motivated than ever now that you are on the show. How is your day going so far?
It's going okay. It's a little chilly in Florida for my liking.
Yeah.
Where in Florida?
We don't do 53 degrees very well.
Oh, boy. Where in Florida are you?
We're in Tampa.
Oh, it is chilly down
Yes.
there. I'm right in Georgia, so we're not too far away.
Okay. Well, woke up this morning and saw some frost outside, and I said, all right, I'm staying in.
Yeah,
need
it
to
was
be out
in the
there.
30s. Can I just say that here in South Carolina, it was in the 30s. So there was some frost also. But the reason why I brought you on, for everybody out there listening, I met Giselle. What do you think? Little over a month ago, maybe?
Something like that. Yeah. A month or two.
And we were I was training in the ring, and her husband were right outside the ring. They're really good friends of some people in WWE. And we got to talking, and it was so crazy how much me and this woman, I was going to say motivated woman, but that's not enough to describe this incredible woman. We have a lot in common. And so I'm going to kind of shut up and let her explain this right here, because we'll get more into what she's been through, you know, like maybe 3 different main things of her life that she has overcome. But she didn't just overcome it. She actually wrote a book, Find Beauty Within Darkness and Stopping the Pattern. Now, I want to point that out because as everybody out there knows on my social media, this is how much me and this woman has in common. I use hashtag break the cycle on a lot because, as you know, I've been through a lot, and this woman actually uses stop the pattern, and we laughed about it, I think, when we met each other, because I mentioned break the cycle and she said stop the pattern, and I was like, that's the same thing, but it just shows that no matter what we've been through, we're going to stop that crap. We're going to stop that negativity, that depression, that addiction, that heavy weight that everybody holds on their shoulders at some point, depending on what they go through. We're going to stop it. And that's exactly what she did. So I'm going to give you the floor, Giselle. Thank you so much for being on this show, for being able to talk about what you've been through, and the fact that not only what you've been through, but what you made of yourself, regardless of what you've been through. So Giselle, a little background. Where are you from? I don't know, maybe 3 things that really pushed you to write this book.
So I currently live in Tampa, Florida. I've been here about 18 years. I'm originally I was born and raised in Chelsea, which is located in downtown Manhattan. And then at about 16 years old, I moved over to the Bronx. But, my mom had a tumultuous background, so we kind of moved around all over the place. So I can say I've basically lived in every part of New York City. But I am a Bronx girl, and I moved here at 27, and it was the best decision I could have made, not only for myself, but also for my girls. I wrote this, I've been writing this book for about 10 years now. And what I always say is I never had an ending. I never had an end part. So I would write more for therapy. But after I met my husband, I felt complete. And once I felt complete, I felt that now it was time to write that book, not only for therapy for me, but also hopefully therapy for others. Because as a woman, I know that we suffer so much in silence, and we kill everything with a smile. Meanwhile, we're dying inside. So that was my goal. Write this story, and with hopes that it can help someone else that's going through hard times.
Right. So you said you're from New York.
Right.
At what age? Because, you know, people like us that come from like shitty situations, I remember very young. I think it was around, if I had to say 9 or 10, possibly into like 12, but no older than that, that I realized looking around at my surroundings, looking around at my family and my lifestyle, as a child, you don't dictate. You can't control that young where you're moving, how many times you moved, the drugs, the depression, the addiction, everything that's surrounding you. At what age, if you had to go back and remember, did you look around and realize this is not what I want? This is not how I want to live. If you remember, what age was that when you looked around?
I do. And this is what's so surprising. And this is what helped me through motherhood, because in my book, I can go back all the way to about 5 years old, where I can recall, and probably even more than that, but I want to say 5, where I can recall I don't want to say abuse towards me, but just abuse that was going on with my mom, you know, the drug abuse. And then in between that, I was kind of shifted from family to family, like from my grandma to my mom. So living with my grandma, I was a princess. I wore dresses, I wore hats, shoes. And then in a spur, when my mom decided, you know what, I'm okay, I'm clean, then I was shifted back to her. So at like 5, 6, 7, I already knew the difference of a shitty life and a good life. And I had to live both worlds, because I didn't want to hurt my mom thinking, you know, my grandma was better than her. And I didn't want to hurt my grandma thinking that she wasn't doing enough for me. And I always wanted to be with my mom. So it was just such a tug of war. So I say 5 years old. And that's why I'm always so conscious of what I do around my children or what they're around, because they know exactly what's going on around them.
Giselle, what do you think is, if you had to pick a single moment that you feel changed the trajectory of your life for good, what was that single moment?
I want to say when I moved to Florida, my ex-husband followed me here. And that was during the years of my domestic violence abuse. And I recall the time I was beat to the point where my ribs were fractured. And I sent a letter to my stepmom, and I said, if anything happens to me, you have to be my lifeline. I have to make sure that the kids are good. And I faced death. I said, I'm facing death. This is it. It's going to be him or I. And it just happened to be that on a domestic call with an officer here in Tampa, her sister had also passed away from domestic abuse. And she said, no, we're going to get him today. We're going to get him. But he was a coward, and he got in his car and drove back to New York. When he drove back to New York, and I knew that he was far away, that was when I knew that, you know, I was free, and it was time for me to move on. And just, you know, as fate is, he was arrested by the feds and was sentenced to 23 years in prison. So at that moment, I remember opening my door, because I would always sleep with my door locked and alarm on. And I opened the door and I sat in my balcony till the sun came up, and I felt free. And I knew that was my time to focus on being better.
Giselle, I have a quick question. So it took that moment of, you know, that officer coming in and having that impact. For everybody out there listening, I know that there's going to be different struggles in your life. There's going to be different things, from domestic or drug addiction, or being a youth and living within, you know, mental health or anger issues or whatever the case may be. Giselle, if you could go back and give somebody advice for the mindset that it takes to not only end, because you could have went back to him. Obviously, there was love there. There was something there. But the type of mindset, if you can give advice as far as what to focus on from that moment of him driving back, and thank the Lord, the feds intercepting, but because it still had something to do within you. You had to put your foot down mentally in order to stop that specific nonsense and move forward. What would you tell them? People out there listening today, and it may not so much be for domestic violence, because not everybody may be going through that, but there may be a cycle, there may be a pattern that people are continuing to allow in their lives, but you had to mentally tell yourself to do something going forward to stop that specific negativity in your life. What would you tell them it was? What did you focus on when that sun came up and when you attacked that next day going forward up until today?
For that moment, because I've gone through so many different moments in my life, for that specific moment, I said it's him or I. And that's something that you have to focus on. You have to make yourself the most important thing and know that there is help. I think sometimes we're afraid to reach out to people or to tell people. There's one thing that I say all the time is it's okay to ask for help. And that was my biggest thing. I felt more like just keeping things inside and staying quiet was better. I was helping everybody else. I didn't want anybody involved. And when I reached out to friends and family, it was an overpouring of guidance that I received, because I think at that moment they noticed that I was really ready. I was really ready to just stop the crap, stop the beating. And I think that happened as well with my mom. I had to detach myself from her because it was the only way to stop that pattern, to stop that cycle of her life, because I was living her life, even through my children, through my child, my first daughter. And that's what it is. It's to know that it's okay to walk away, to know that it's okay to say no.
Giselle, first of all, you're so brave. And, of all the different causes that are out there that, where people feel like, there might be like what causes sort of to take up and to invest your time in. I mean, domestic violence is one that is, unfortunately, it's very, very near and dear to me. And I have too many friends who have who suffered at the hands of somebody who's just evil. Yeah. My question to you is, what as a society do we need to do to head this off? It's a question that I don't have a good answer, but what do we need to do?
I think we need more awareness. You see how you said evil, and it is evil, but it's also mental health. Because somewhere, and I'm not giving that man or my mother an okay of what they did, but somewhere they lost their path. My mom got involved in these drugs. My mom was a beautiful person. My mom's heart, was huge. She was a beautiful, beautiful person, but she got so caught up in these drugs that there was just no help for her. And I feel that a lot of people that go through this, it's related a lot to mental health. It's related to weakness. And I find myself to be so blessed that I had that strength to say, no, not me. I'm not doing that. And there were so many people that would say, oh, she's going to be just like her mother. She's going to be just like, they said that about all my siblings, and, we rose above it.
You stop the pattern, and that's another thing. This book is not just about domestic violence. For people out there listening, this is about overcoming, not being a victim of your circumstance from the time this woman was 14 to 15 to 16 to 17, way before she met the man that put his hands on her, way before. She has been through things in her life that she had to stop the pattern for. And I can relate. And two things I want to point out, Giselle, is you are so right. People want to label domestic violence addiction, but what they are failing to also mention is mental health. It's something within the brain, and these are big things, but there's things on a smaller scale that are ruining lives. That, I mean, suicide, not that that's on the smaller scale, but like there's so many things that people are going through that the mental health should be probably the first thing mentioned, because that's the problem that are causing people to lash out, to get physical, mental, high, to get on the drugs, because they cannot seem to find or feel any other option in their brain. It starts up here. And my father, he overdosed. But I can tell you firsthand, I've seen him high, I've seen him sober, and there is still, it stems from a mental health issue, from an underlining cause that the drugs helped, that the physical abuse seemed to get his mind off of the mental health that was always a problem. And another thing that you said, Giselle, and this is a lot of things that people don't do, especially parents, is when you said, I asked you, what was it that finally made you stop the nonsense, put your foot down? And that was, you put yourself first, which it was interesting because you don't hear that a lot. But I know that you mean what you say, because it takes that to realize, as a parent, a lot of people say, my kids come first. I had to recognize that they needed, no. You know why they don't come first? Because you have to come first. Because before you can fill their cups, or before you could protect them, before you could do anything for your children, you have to make sure that you are okay. And if you don't, I'm telling you right now, the bottom's going to fall out, because I always say this a lot. Everybody out there listening, I don't care if it's domestic, I don't care if it's drug addiction, I don't care what it is you're going through. But as a parent, you or a sibling, as a family member, as a human being, as a friend, you cannot fill other people's cups if your cup is empty. So make sure to do just what she did, and just like I do, make sure to take care of yourself. That way you could be the mother that your babies need. That way you could be the friend that your friend needs. That way you could be the teacher that your students need, or whatever the case it is for you. But thank you for saying that, Giselle, because a lot of people, they think, well, my babies have to, well, really sit back and look at it. Look at what you're going through in your life and realize that if you don't put yourself first, there's no way that you could be what you need to be for those that need you.
You're so right. And I'll give you a quick timeline. So as a 5-year-old, I put my mom first because I was worried about her feelings. I put my grandma first because I was worried about hers. I put my dad first because I was more, I tried to understand that he was also young. At an older age, I put society first because I felt like I needed to fit in. I needed to fit into society. Then it was having a child at a young age. And then it was relationship, because everyone felt I needed to be married. I had to be married. I have a child already. You need a family. So it was just satisfying everybody's needs over and over and over, until it was just like, I am done. I was just exhausted of just being what everybody else wanted me to be. And I lost myself. I lost myself totally. My identity, my personality, my demeanor, everything. I didn't even know who I was anymore. And this is why I say that it took, and, I'm not very young anymore, but, it took years to get there. And this is why I also wrote this book, and why I'm so passionate about helping others, because I really want them to see that. Start this at a young age. And I embed this in my kids' brains all the time. Start now, go to school now. Don't worry about other stuff. Focus on you, do you. That is just like the most important thing in this world. Is doing you first.
It sounds selfish, Giselle. I mean, obviously you're a very giving woman. It sounds so selfish, but it is one of the most selfless things that you can do, not only as an American, not only as a mother, not only for our future, but like, I completely agree. And sometimes it's hard for people to even imagine putting themselves first, but in the long run, it creates women like you. It creates women like me. It creates people that can be there for people that need it. Yeah. So one more thing, where can people get not only your book, but follow you? Because it doesn't end here. You, even through your social media, which we need more of, especially right now, is so motivating, is so uplifting. Obviously, we'll have you on the show again. But where can they get the book starting?
I have the book on my website, www.findbeautywithindarkness.com. I'm also on Kindle and Nook through Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Going through the approval process to have my book on Amazon. And on Instagram, it's at Giselle McNab author, and Facebook is the same thing. I have a Facebook page, business page. And yeah, I'm starting from scratch. I mean, everything has come from me, my book, my merchandise, my desire to help. This is just all me and my husband.
And then another thing, because obviously, you know, it's sometimes there's a saying that, you know that you have healed from something when you're able to talk about it. I think me and you talked about that too, when we were face to face. What was the hardest thing to actually write in this book? Was there a certain moment or a certain thing that it was hard to get off your chest and admit to, or that you've been through? Because I find that a lot with myself, and you know, some things are hard to talk about.
I think everything was hard to talk about because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I was determined to keep the story about myself. So there were some things that I couldn't include because I didn't want to include anyone else's story as far as my siblings or any other family members. So I wrote about me. I wish my mom was here today because I would love for her to tell her story. But I think the hardest part was speaking my mother's story in my eyes, because I really don't know what she went through in reality. I don't know what her past was about. So that was the hardest part. And there were some things that I wrote about that I said, oh God, my kids are going to read this. But then again, I'm glad. I want them to read it because, you know, they live a good life, and I want them to know that not everything is always good, that, you know, there are moments of sadness and hard times, and I want them to see that too. And I want every other young girl and boy to see that as well, that, you know, in life is a struggle. I mean, you can have millions of dollars and you still have, you know, some kind of struggle.
Right.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I feel like a lot of times people will see people like Lacey Evans. They'll see, you know, famous men and women. Now, obviously, you're on this incredible climb with not only what you've been through, but where you're going. And I mean, obviously, I would love to write a book one day. And it's so cool that you got out of your comfort zone and did that.
Right.
What are your goals? Where do you see yourself?
Well, right now I'm working on a nonprofit foundation to help young women and women struggling, going through hard times. I'd hate to just say only Tampa. I would love to help the world. And I would love to have an explanation of what I'm doing. And honestly, I can't, because I'm figuring it out. I can't promise what I'm doing, but I can promise that I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm going to do something. What it is, I don't know, but I'm going to do something.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I'd hate for you to disclose all of your, I'm sure there's a lot in the works. I don't know if you have a nonprofit name picked out yet, but I mean, I feel you do. What is it? Or is it, wait.
I do. And, you know, I have to give you kudos for this, because I remember when we spoke and I'm like, I'm not getting on a video. I'm not getting on TV. I'm too shy. I can't do that. And you were like, you better get it together. So we did. We figured it out. The name is Sis. Because we always say, you know, what's up, sis? Or that's my sis, or you got this, sis. So it's SIS. Yeah, so it's SIS. We're still working on it's an acronym, so we're still working on the words. But yeah, that's what it is. And it's in the works. It's not easy. And like I said, I'm doing this on my own. I don't have any fancy dancy, you know, contributions and stuff, but
you will. You will eventually. And what was my next question? So you've got the nonprofit ready to go. You've got the name picked out. Obviously, it is an acronym. And it's going to be in Tampa, correct? For starting, obviously, you're ready to, you know,
yes.
You're going to.
My goal is an online platform, because everyone's online. If you see all these teenagers, everybody's always online. So if I can get an online platform, that would be wonderful. So it's in the works.
And then, I got it. That's what I was going to ask. Now, is this nonprofit, does it, because your book doesn't, is your nonprofit going to specialize or focus on the domestic violence, or is it, you know, about just
overall?
Okay, Perfect.
It's overall, because I think we all suffer, you know, and there's one thing I wanted to point out too, like there's not a cure for what we feel. It's just making it better, because there's days that I'm just down and out, and my husband's like, what's wrong with you? You know, you should be okay. I mean, you know, look at your life. And I'm just, it's not that. It's just, there's some days that it just feels so heavy. Does that make sense?
Oh no, for sure. And I'm right there with you. And I'm a big promoter of mental health, but we have so much in common. It could literally be a beautiful sunshiny day. Right. I have money in my bank. I've got a beautiful family. And all of a sudden, for no reason, those dark clouds come in, and we're second guessing and thinking of all this stuff that we've already survived. There is not an end all be all. There's not a fix for the mental health side, but we can continue to march forward and light, like I was saying this earlier, light the candles, light the lavender, light the citrus, look at the yellow, go outside and get some vitamin D. There are little things that you can do to get you through what you're feeling, but it'll never heal everything.
It'll never heal.
I feel you. We just got to keep. We have to find the beauty within the darkness, and we got to stop the patterns.
There you go. That's it. Yep. Wonderful. And buy your candles. I love them.
Thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you.
The minute I met you, I was telling John, you know, there's this incredible woman that we've got to have out, and we've made it work finally. And I'm sure we'll have you on the show again, because everybody out there listening, this is not just a woman that has started from the bottom. She is still climbing. No matter what she's been through, she's not given up. And she is selfless enough to climb a ladder that is literally made to help others. So she's got a lot of stuff in the works, and you guys can follow her career. You could follow her drive and her success through her Instagram and through her website, where you can get this motivated book. If you or somebody that you know, Christmas is coming up, is out there that has been through hell and just does not want to give up and needs a little bit of motivation from somebody who legitimately has felt it physically, mentally, and emotionally, and never gave up, and who broke the pattern, who stopped the pattern, that is Giselle. Make sure you guys, we're going to tag all that below and make sure you guys get the information you needed, but visit it, grab the book if you can, and support her, because she is an incredible, motivated woman with some wisdom on this Wednesday.
Absolutely. I think it was a big thrill to have you on, Giselle. I mean, you're amazing. You're amazing. And, you know, what's most admirable is that you're just continuing to move forward. Nobody has it figured out. That's the key. Nobody has it all figured out, and everyone's just trying to move forward. So you're doing the right thing, and we will do everything we can to support you.
I appreciate it so much.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Giselle.
Thanks. You guys have a good day. Stay warm.
Oh, we're trying, honey.
I'm all bundled up. Look at me. So, all right. So Lacey, pretty amazing.
And you know what, that was not even, we didn't even dig into what this woman has been through. Like, obviously we bring our guests back out, you know, down the line, but I just wanted to bring it up, bring her in and just lightly talk about domestic violence, talk about youth hardships in her life, her mother going to prison, coming out of prison, and all of a sudden having to connect that relationship back with her mom while trying to continue to grow, jumping from grandma's house to mom's house. This story is incredible. And from a young age, I mean, she was on her own at 14, trying to figure out, you know, what she was supposed to do and what she wanted to do in the future. And I mean, I can relate a lot to her. So I'm just glad that we got to bring out this first time, and the next time we'll dig deeper, because her story is just never ending.
All right. I've got to say something. We have an awesome platform. American Brain and Brawn is, first of all, it's an incredible show. Second of all, we have an incredible audience. Third of all, here's what we need to do to ratchet it up, everybody, in terms of forward. Support Giselle. Go buy the book. Go to her website right now. Buy this book. Herbert, put up the website. Make sure everybody knows. Put it up. Somebody go buy the book. FindBeautyWithinDarkness.com. Everybody go buy that. If you don't buy this, something's going to happen.
And tag me when you buy it, because like literally I want to hear what the best that you got out of it. Even if it was just a paragraph that really stuck out that resonated with you. And tag me on my social media and let's open up a message. Let's talk about it, because this is great.
Absolutely. So I want somebody in the chat room to tell me that you have successfully gone to the website and bought the book. We need to have an impact. We need to support our guests. We need to make sure that our audience is engaged. Go to findbeautywithindarkness.com right now. Somebody buy the book and drop it in right here. Drop it right in. All the money, guess what? 100% of the funds go to Giselle. How about that?
To continue to do good in this world. That's what we need.
Right.
Lord,
that's all you need. You need strong. Listen, domestic violence is a real deal issue. And I loved how she stopped me saying it's evil. It's all about mental health. Here's where I'm going to agree. Isn't evil by definition? Doesn't that fall into the category of mental health issues? I think that's what I think. So listen, it's all about mental health. It's all about supporting those who have been able to stand themselves up. And Giselle's amazing. So go to Find Beauty. Here we go. Who bought it? Michael. Michael, thank you so much. God bless you.
Message me when you read it. And it's not a hard read either. It's very to the point. A lot of books, they'll go in a rabbit hole. This one doesn't.
That's right.
Michael, message me as we read it. I'll read it again. We'll read it together.
We got it. All right. Well, listen, we're going to wrap up this show. Next week, we have another amazing episode of American Brain and Brawn. Lacey, you want to know what I'm doing this weekend?
What are you
doing?
Are you really? You're going hunting?
I'm hunting.
What are you hunting?
Yeah. After I told a few of my friends, all of a sudden, I've never been invited to go hunting, and now I'm going hunting. I got a lot of hunting buddies.
Just don't embarrass me out there, John, okay?
I won't. I'm going to keep my socks on. All right, everybody. Herbert, get us out of here.
I can't.
God bless y'all.
Oh, John, what am I going to do with you?